today's discussion is going to be on the Autochartist platform and the customization of this platform. So before I begin, I want you to consider a few things regarding Autochartist, and I want you to consider how it is you personally might be using Autochartist right now. Now, many of you might already know my personal journey to Autochartist. I was looking for ways to automate trend lines and chart patterns for myself. I'm a private trader, have been my entire career, and having any kind of automated assistance, one that doesn't necessarily make decisions for me, but assists me in getting to where I need to go. I liken it to having an automatic transmission in a car. I'm still driving the car. I'm still making decisions as to where the car is ultimately going to go, but it sure is nice having that automatic transmission helping me get there. Okay? So I liken it to that. Now, in terms of how I came upon Autochartist and how I like to use it, I mentioned, I believe it was last week, that I like the standalone platform as well as the plugin on MT4. For those of you that have any questions, and I got a lot of questions about that plugin for the MT4 platform, you can contact tech support at autochartist.com if you need any help as far as setting it up. But your individual broker who offers Autochartist to you will have the download that works for your version of MT4. So consult your broker first, find out if they have the plugin, where it's available, and then as far as setup goes or any issues you might have after that, you can certainly contact tech support at autochartist.com. So as I mentioned, it's an automatic transmission in many ways. It's helping me make decisions along the way. I am still the driver of the car. So I like to mention that on the onset because I don't want anybody here in the room to think of this platform as a system. Okay? It systematizes the identification, the recognition, and the actual alert of the chart patterns, but ultimately the decision to take a particular chart pattern on a specific time frame for any of the pairs that you are scanning, again, ultimately it is your decision. So what you want to be able to do is make your preferences for what you will be receiving as alerts as much a reflection as possible of how you would actually be looking for chart patterns had you been doing it manually. So you really want to make Autochartist as much a part of you or an extension of you as possible, and the best way to do that is platform customization. So it's not that it's a very complicated thing. My experience has taught me that most people keep their platform in a very similar manner. I'm going to go through with you how I set it up. I'm going to discuss the individual aspects of platform customization, what I have found is helpful, and the pitfalls that I have discovered have caused me problems. Okay, so you can avoid those yourself. And then hopefully when we're done our discussion, you'll have a much clearer idea of how you want to go about, or even if you want to go about customizing the Autochartist software. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the star of the show here, and that is our Autochartist platform. You should see that now on your screen. Okay, so what you're looking at right now is actually my personal Autochartist, and I've made some particular searches you can see here on the left-hand side. Okay. Now, the first customization, I think maybe the most obvious, sometimes the most overlooked customization, is one that I find some people tend to overlook. Okay, and that is simply creating customized searches for the pairs or symbols that you like to trade. Simple as that. A lot of people start the Autochartist platform up. They see that there's a default search that comes with the platform, but they neglect to consider what their individual trading symbols are and how that would work within the Autochartist scanning. So, you know, a lot of traders, when they first use a new tool, become very overwhelmed. And to me, a lot of that overwhelm comes from simply too much information. Okay? So when you have too much information, what that leads to often is you kind of glaze over what the tool, or in this case the software, is trying to tell you. And you have an inability to act because there's no confidence behind what you're seeing. So everything we're doing here, even though I'm talking about platform customization, is really about instilling a certain degree of confidence into what it is you're seeing so that you have the ability to act. I think most people do not act when they don't have any confidence. I think it's very important to address that right off the bat, that if you do not understand or comprehend what it is you're looking at, if you have not confirmed, gone through the process of confirming that you understand and have a certain amount of capacity to say, I see this tool, I understand what it's telling me, I can now take the next step, which is possibly setting up a trade or filtering out a trade. Okay? If you lack the ability to understand or comprehend, if you haven't taken the time to confirm that you do have a grasp of, for example, in our situation specifically here, chart patterns or the initial trend or market trends and phases, if you're not confident of what time frame you want to focus in on. You know, there's a number of aspects here. If you haven't taken the time to confirm all that, you will never get to that final stage, which is confidence. Oftentimes, the route to confidence gets taken off track, gets derailed, if you will, because traders have simply, going back to what we started off with, too much information in front of them. Okay? So my first recommendation is to sit down with pen and paper and ask yourself, what symbols do I trade? Maybe you're a futures trader, maybe you're a stock trader, maybe you trade particular symbols in Forex. You know, obviously, as we go down the list here, you know, I'm not sure how many of you are equities traders, CFD traders, Forex traders, whatever it may be. Okay? You need to honestly assess what it is that you will act on. For example, let me give you a personal example for me. I'd say about 80% of what I do, maybe close to 90%, is Forex. Now, within that Forex category, my focus is mainly what I call dollar-correlated majors and COMDOLs. In other words, those pairs that trade against the US dollar. I trade the big pairs. I don't trade a lot of crosses. Okay? I don't trade minor dollar-correlated pairs. I mean, I'm focusing in mainly on the majors. Euro US dollar, US dollar Japanese yen, British pound US dollar, dollar Canada, Australian dollar US dollar, New Zealand dollar US dollar. Sometimes I will look at pairs like the Euro